Welcome to Women in Paint. Whether your paint story is dripless or an old school mix of project management, business ownership, or modern estimation, the stories of women in paint are now part of the industry's rising success. We'll educate, encourage, and promote diversity and gender equality by giving you a behind-the-scenes look at our proven skills, business acumen, and driving force that propels anyone to find meaningful opportunities and a career path that challenges lives through paint. Now let's welcome your host, Michael Cheney.
Welcome to the show. Okay, I've got one of my favorites on. I call her the happiness coach. But Tracy, what do others call you? Because I know you've probably got other titles besides the happiness coach.
Oh my gosh, I wear many, many hats. So yes, I am. I have a friend who calls me a doctor in happiness. I lead positive psychology trainings. I'm a corporate trainer. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a cycling instructor. I'm a digital marketer. I'm a wife. I'm a stepmom. All kinds of things.
All the titles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always supposed to not label people or something. I don't know, but listen, I'm going to stick with the happiness coach because
I love it.
For one, whenever I see you, you certainly bring me some happiness. But listen, I want to talk about how you were just at the Women of Paint event with me. You're not in the painting industry, but who knows? Maybe we can pull you in here. And the presentation that you talked about positivity and all those type of things. And we're going to kind of talk about that under the context of, look, we're approaching the holidays. Thanksgiving's a couple weeks away. And, we've been through, I'll say, a lot over this summer. If we think about the political environment and all the things that our country has gone through, you and I were talking about, sometimes it's just tiring to put the face on and show up and think, man, I've got to be positive all the time. Kind of extrapolate on what we were just talking about. And let's bring folks up to speed on what we've kind of just talked about.
Yeah, it's one of the things that people say to me all the time. So if you're happy or you're positive, people think that you are not living in reality, right? Like, how can you be happy? How can you be positive with everything that's happening in the world? And I think the first misunderstanding, or, people think that I'm always happy and that I'm always positive. And that is not the human experience, right? Like, people who are positive and happy also get angry and sad and exhausted and disappointed. They grieve. It's not, happiness and positivity doesn't exist in a bubble like that. Right. And when people say, how can you be happy or positive with everything that's going on? I think it's more important than ever to find ways to be positive and happy with everything that's going on, because if you don't, you just get sucked into this cycle of negativity that exists everywhere around us. And that can take you down. Like, that can really take you down. And I think it's exhausting to be negative, but it can also be exhausting to be positive. So,
right. What it reminds me of, and this is, I would say, kind of something that I've really tried to lean into over the last couple of years. And one of my amazing coaches kind of brought it to my attention, but it's the idea of both and, right? Whereas a lot of times I think I've had the tendency to be like very black and white. It's either this way or that way. And there's actually a real strength in the idea, at least for me, of both and. So you can be positive and maybe at times you're not so positive, right? What is kind of your relationship with this idea of both and not so rigid and it's either this way or this way? You're either positive or you're not. What does that kind of look like for you, or what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I feel like in general, we are becoming more and more polarized about everything. Like, that and doesn't exist in any part of our lives, whether it be in our emotions, whether it be in, how we feel about social issues, in how we feel about our work. Which is such an interesting thing. It's like society has been working for so long to be inclusive and things just feel like so polarized in so many ways. And so I think that when I allow myself that dichotomy, and it allows me to be more compassionate and let other people have that as well, right? So when I understand that I can be positive and happy, and I can also have times, days, week, months of my life where, I don't feel so positive, or I've got some tough things going on and it's hard to get through. That allows me the compassion for other people to understand that they're not just one thing all the time.
Yeah. I didn't think of it in terms of that, but that's another, I think, piece that I've learned over recent years is, when you can be compassionate with yourself, it actually shows up in your compassion for other people, right? When you can kind of, I would even say be okay with who you are and your flaws, then it gives you a little more space and acceptance for other people.
Without a doubt. And we are all so multifaceted, right? Like human beings are so complex, all of us. And when our brain wants to make things simple, right? Our brain wants to put things into boxes so that we can understand the world and make sense of it. And it's far easier to deal with someone if you feel like they are just this and the and doesn't exist. But that and is where all the rich connection comes from, when you meet someone and you realize they are so much more complex than just what you thought of them. And we're losing the ability to do that. And I think that it is, for me, that's something I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose the ability to dig into the complexness of myself or other people. And so, surrendering to that, surrendering to the authenticity of how you feel in the moment, but also striving to be the person you want to be and see the world in the way you want to see it, right? Not getting stuck in a place you don't want to be and staying there permanently.
Yeah, right. What are some things that you do for yourself to make sure that you're not getting stuck?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I would say the last month has been a real challenge for me, because I am very positive, and just my default has become that I put a positive spin on things. That's how my brain has started to work. That's the language I use. And people right now are not really positive. And I had to shut down for a while. I have not been on social media in about 3 weeks. I have kind of cocooned myself because I know right now I need to protect my energy. I need to think about things the way I want to think about them. I need to feel the emotions that I want to feel without someone else telling me what they think, without being fed things that I don't even realize are coming in, whether it be across the internet or the news. And I'm just getting ready to reemerge. But I just was overwhelmed. I just felt overwhelmed. I was starting to feel hopeless because I was it's the negativity is coming from every single direction. There's no positivity anywhere. And so I just I turned the volume down. I turned the volume all the way off and just have been in silence for the last 3 weeks. And I'm really starting to get to a point where I feel like I'm ready to turn the volume up and be able to selectively choose what I want to listen to. And I was losing the ability to sort through the noise and pull out what was important and what I wanted to let go. So I had to stop it all and go back to factory settings, reset. Yeah.
No, I think that's a great way to say it. Go back to factory settings, right? And kind of catch a break. We kind of talked about, look, we're on the verge of our holidays, and listen, it's not always easy time of year. At least I know it's not for me. Any tips on, how we set ourselves up to have a successful holiday season. What what can we do for ourselves? How can we show up? I guess with positivity.
Mhm.
If it's a difficult time to do that.
Yeah, it's like everybody's like, oh, it's the happiest time of the year. I mean, I don't really know anybody who thinks this is the happiest time of year, right? Like maybe, I don't know, maybe kids who
Right.
haven't figured out the dynamics of, the world. But
Yeah.
like this is the time of year, I know for me, that I spend time with people that I don't normally spend time with, right?
Mhm.
So I'm getting together with people who I don't have, maybe like we're not hanging out on a regular basis. Our connection is just through family or through certain friends. And we all have these scripts that we know. Like I know when I go certain places, I know who's going to be there. I know what they're going to say. Like I know the first thing out of their mouth. I know what they're going to ask me. And it's very easy to like play that out in your head. You know how it's going to go. So by the time you walk in the door, you're already aggravated. You're already mad. You're already on the defensive. You're already sensitive to what's happening.
Are you explaining my holiday get-togethers?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing right now?
You know what the thing is? Like we all think.
How did you know? How'd you know?
We all think it's us. We all think it's only our family. And here's a spoiler alert: it is every family. It just exists in different ways, right?
Sure.
And so there's a thing in positive psychology called blazing the trail. And what this theory says is the person who speaks first sets the tone. So often what we'll do is by default, like, I know what this person is going to say to me. So I just roll into the house and just wait, right? Like I just show up and I just wait because I know it's coming. Instead, if I can think of how I want to change the conversation, like how I want to start the conversation. So instead of them coming at me with whatever they come at me with, maybe I can walk in the door and start the conversation with something that's important to them or something that they care about or something that they've done this year that I know they're proud of, or talking about, their kids or their hobby or their job or a trip they took. And instead of waiting for them, we can set the tone. We can start the conversation. And if you can get other people on your side, because usually it's like, like your siblings know when you go to your parents' house how it's going to go. So maybe you can get your siblings together and be like, hey, let's really try, like, let's talk about this topic and like continually bring it back, right? Like there's strength in numbers. And so if you can have a strategy heading into it, I think that for me, I know that helps. That helps because then I feel like I'm a little bit more in control. And I try to look at it as like kind of a game. Like, what can I do to make this person talk about something other than what they're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's it going to be? What?
No, that's good. So blazing the trail. That's what it's called. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm certainly going to keep that in mind. And I mean, it sounds so simple, right? I mean, I can think of so many situations where that could totally change the entire dynamic of the situation.
It's in every interaction. It's in every interaction. Like just you think about like just you and I talking, like if you had started this call and just went into a whole list of things that are, bringing you down, that would set our normal human behaviors for me to match that. Because then I would start talking to you about all the things that are bringing me down. And now all we're doing is bringing everybody down. So how you start these interactions, I know something.
All right. I'm going to be blazing the trail here in about a week and a half or so. All right, Miss Tracy, you joined us at Women in Paint this year. It was an interesting time because it was pretty much during a hurricane. I think we just have to say that. Down in Margaritaville, you're not in the painting industry. Kind of give me a recap of what this experience was like for you.
Well, it was fantastic because I really had the opportunity to immerse myself in this group. I was the first speaker. I very easily could have talked for an hour and then just disappeared for the rest. That could have been my hour with the group and that was it. somewhat by choice, somewhat by the circumstances, canceled flights, hurricanes and such. I spent, I went to the sessions, spent time with the attendees. And it was funny because the whole time people were like, do you own a painting business too? And I was like, no, I'm just hanging out. And it was so fascinating, like we had been talking, to watch people be proud of who they are and what they do. And that, I think, is what I loved so much about this group of women, is that everyone has a story and we all think our story is like boring and nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
But when given an opportunity to share your story, people just light up. Like, people just want to talk about themselves and be heard and be understood. And I had a lot of chances to do that, like just to hear what people are doing and where they're from and, what lights them up and what they think their strengths are and their challenges. And it was, for me, it was like, I felt like I was recharged and, I'm not in the painting business yet. Not yet.
Yet, keyword yet. Who knows? We might be able to rope you in. No, I think that is what most experience, one, when they go to a PCA event, and then two, especially women in paint. You kind of had mentioned to me that, when you get women together, it feels differently, right? There is a sense of letting your guard down, being a little more open. And I love that, like, that was one of your takeaways, because that is certainly what I feel when I'm involved in those types of groups. Let's talk about what you presented on. Kind of give us a quick recap on the topic and what it was all about, and we'll kind of just pull out some of those details and run with it.
Yeah, so we talked about cultivating happiness, really. So how we can grow I use positivity and happiness kind of in the same, they're interchangeable to me. Mm-hmm. And really the whole premise of the conversation was like, it's nice to be happy and it feels good to be positive. However, there are so many valuable things that come out of that, so many things that contribute to your success in life and in business when you meet things with a positive outlook, when you have experienced that happiness and that whole person well-being, because it really rewires your brain to see possibilities that you don't see when you're negative or depressed or unhappy.
Right.
Which is, we always, like, we want science to validate things, right? Like that's what we need. And in the last 25 years or so, positive psychology has really started to validate a lot of these things. And so there's research and all of these studies about all of the value that positivity brings. Positive salespeople outsell negative salespeople. Doctors diagnose quicker and with more accuracy. Positive students with a positive mindset perform better on skills tests. Like, our brain works better when it's positive. And I think that's valuable in our personal lives. And I think it's really valuable when it comes to business.
Yeah. You said that about salespeople, and obviously this is something I know, but you better believe at my next sales meeting with my team, I am going to have a little session on this, because you're right. It's, it's the same thing as, when people always use this example, but if you're shopping for a red car, right? And you've got red cars on the brain, everywhere you turn, you're going to see a red car. And it's the same thing with this idea of being positive, right? When you can show up positive, you're going to find more positivity and more opportunities for yourself.
Exactly.
Did anything strike you from your presentation? Did anyone have any interesting questions or want to maybe talk more about an idea that you presented? Did you find anything like that after your presentation?
Yes, I have. I actually, there are a couple people who were there that I've heard from since. One person I've heard from repeatedly, which is really awesome. One thing I noticed is that a lot of people are already doing things to really to blaze that trail in their businesses and with their clients, the way they talk to their employees, the way they talk to their coworkers, the type of clients they look for. And that actually, I would say that's the first thing that struck me, is that a lot of people are already doing that. So I heard multiple stories from people how in their staff meetings, once a week, they'll talk about, something good that happened, right? Let's talk about a success, or gratitude. Let's, write thank you cards to everybody, write a thank you card to a customer this week or a client, or show your appreciation for another employee. Like, tell me something good another employee had done. And those kinds of things, that is exactly what creates more of that. Because when you know that on Monday, you're going to have to tell the team something good that happened, your brain starts looking for that red car, right? Your brain goes through every single day being like, okay, well, I've got to talk about something. What is it? Where is it? Like, I got to find it. Yeah. And usually what you find is you have so many to choose from by the time you get to the meeting that you've got to kind of sort through them. So that really struck me. Yeah,
I love that. One practice that I have, and I'm thinking about this because it's something I do in January, but I'm thinking about it now, and I sit down, and for each day of January, I write a thank you card. And I do that for the entire month. And that's kind of my challenge for the month. If anyone knows anything about me, they know that I like to set up different challenges for myself. Yeah. And so for the month of January, I'll write 31 thank you cards. But what that does is, I know that's coming up, right? And so it's got me already thinking about some of those positives, who am I going to put on my list this year? What are the amazing things that I've been able to, experience with them. And then in January is my time to kind of let them know about, how they're on my mind. Do you have any sort of practices, or I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that does these goofy little challenges, but do you have anything that maybe you're looking forward to, or something that you could share with us?
First of all, I love that you do that. There's a book called 365 Days of Thank You that is exactly what you talk about. It's the guy who wrote the book was a lawyer, and he was really unhappy, and he decided he was going to write a thank you note for 365 days. Wow. And what he found, which is probably what you find, is that, like the first couple are kind of easy, right? Like, the obvious. Yeah. But then you get to the point where things aren't so obvious, and now you've got to like really scroll through your mind and like work harder to see who you're going to say thank you to. And he said it completely changed his mind because it rewired his brain. Like, now he would get up in the morning and be like, okay, who's going to get it to, like, who's the person I'm going to thank today? So you're looking for something that brings you value instead of seeing all the things that are wrong, all the things people do wrong. So I love that. And a gratitude practice. I have a gratitude practice. So every morning, I do a bunch of things every morning, but one of the things I do is I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And some days they're big things. Some days I really struggle to come up with the 3 things, or they're, really seemingly small. But on the days when it's hard, those are the days when it's the most important, because anybody can be positive when it's easy, right? Like when everything's going great, when you like land your big job, and, your family's going great, and your finances are awesome, and, the weather's great, and your yard looks great, and you're having a great hair day and all of that. Like, it's easy to make a whole list of things you're grateful for, but on like crappiest day, a lot of people just stop and they're like, man, this gratitude practice isn't working for me. But that's like whenever I get to that point, I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I do it. Like, this is why I do it. So I got to like really dig deep. So it'll be like the steam. The other day I wrote that I was happy, but my husband was sitting across from me, and he had a cup of coffee that had steam coming out of it. And that was one of the things I wrote down, that I was grateful to see, like, for how beautiful that steam was coming off his coffee.
One of the first people that I used to hear talk about gratitude journals was Oprah. And, she really attributes gratitude journal to a lot of her success in life.
Without a doubt.
What how do you think it's impacted you? What do you think having this gratitude journal, how does that have an impact on you?
It definitely makes, it kind of comes back to that compassion for other people. It allows me to see the good before I see the bad. Yeah. So it doesn't mean I don't see the bad, because I certainly see the bad, right? I see the negative, I see the sad, I see that. Because, you know, you'd be blind if you were going through life and you didn't see the sad things. So I see them, but I see the positive. I see the good first. And, you know, on most days, if something bad happens and something good happens and you ask me how my day was, I'll tell you about the good thing. And that's what gratitude has done for me, is that practice of putting that first. Now that's what I lead with, right? Mm-hmm. It's not, doesn't mean the negative isn't there, because I could very easily sit down and have a, you know, like whatever is the opposite of gratitude, a journal of all the things that are, you know, and anxiety. I actually met someone once who said their therapist told them to start an anxiety journal, and at the end write down everything that made them anxious.
That's
all that did was train her to look for things like all day long. What's
right. So that doesn't seem like. That's a challenge I don't want to take on. I don't know about you.
I was like, I don't need to make a list. I've got enough.
Right? I don't need to be more aware of my anxiety.
No.
No, this is awesome. You know what? Actually, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but now you've got me over here thinking there's some more challenges I need to add on my plate. And I'm going to think about this.
Yeah.
First of all, what was the name of the book? The 365 Days.
365 Days of Thank You. It was called.
Okay. I got to read that book. And you know what? I don't know if I should stretch myself in 2025 and go for 365 days. Stay tuned on that one. I'm going to have a lot of note cards. I'm going to have a lot of note cards on me at all times. But you know what? You know what I'm going to do for my team in January now? I don't know. They're probably not listening. They don't really pay much attention to what I do. But I think I'm going to issue them a challenge. I'm going to get them all little gratitude journals. And for 31 days in January, I'm going to issue a challenge to them to do a gratitude journal. I like that, right?
Yeah.
What's next? What's next for you? We're on the brink of 2025. Any big plans? Any big goals? What are you hoping for Tracy Clayman in 2025?
First of all, I can't believe I still feel like it should be like 1992.
I don't know how you know what? If I could redo that year, who knows where I'd be.
I know. Everything would be different. I am actually, so my big thing that I'm working on right now is I am just about done with my yoga teacher training. So I'm in a 200-hour yoga teacher training program. So yeah, I'm after 25 years finally of doing yoga, I'm finally going to get that certification. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I just love to learn. And
more tools in the tool belt.
Yep. And then 2025, we actually are going to expand our corporate training to include something called StrengthsFinder, which is a program that is based on this idea of, you know, we're all trying to improve the things that were like our weaknesses, right? Like we have this focus, like, oh, we should focus on our weaknesses and make those better, when our true area of genius is where we're strong. And if we can develop our strengths,
right,
we can develop our strengths exponentially better than we can our weaknesses. And so there's a program called StrengthsFinder where you take this test and you identify your top 5 strengths, and then use those to try to incorporate into your work and in your life, like how you can focus more on those things. So that's something new that I'm going to be digging into and offering to our corporate training clients, which it's really interesting because we all know deep down, we all know what we're good at, right? We know what we're good at. We know what we like to do. And where those two things cross, like that is our area of genius. And so like, especially with employees, if you look at your employees, you can have the right people, but they may not be in the right spot. And if you can move them into the right spot where what they're good at and what they're passionate about meets, it opens up everything.
That's right.
And it all just, kind of all ties together. So I'm really cool. Looking forward to that. And then I've got a couple like full day positive psychology trainings going, and just
very good.
Meeting more people, learning new things, all of that.
Very good. Maybe even attending another Women in Paint event. Who knows? We, of course, will have one in 2025.
I'm just
like, there you go.
It's gonna be like hanging out in the lobby at the hotel. Like, hey guys,
you know what?
Get a coffee.
I'm down for that. I'm down for that. If people want to get in contact with you, what is the best way to connect with you?
Probably the best way is, since I'm not on social media right now, probably email. So tracy.clayman226@gmail. Can send me an email. When I am on social media, my Facebook is Tracy Richards Clayman, and my Instagram, I think, is TracyRB226. You'll
very good. I think, can we also find you on the Women in Paint Facebook page?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good deal. And that will lead me into my next little segue here, is that if you're not following us on the Women in Paint Facebook page, check us out. It's a very positive environment. We support each other. It's really unlike any other painting contractor group I'm a part of. Tracy, thank you so much for joining me. I have a feeling you might be back. We will see what the future has in store for us. But yeah, other than that, we will see y'all next time.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on Women in Paint. We hope you feel compelled to follow your own path and use your compassion, strength, and skills to build a career in the paint industry. And if you like this episode as much as we did, give it a simple click to subscribe so we can invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share it on all your socials. Remember, Women in Paint, stir up more than just a can of eggshell.